and I need to make a little flag or something where it's like controversial opinion, and I'm just gonna wait
red
it.
flag.
Bing, bing, bing. Here's our segment of controversial
Yeah,
opinions.
because and that was my one take. Well, one, it was when you said when you're trying to be better, because I'm like, you should be trying to be better. It's not like you're trying to be better than other people, but you should absolutely try to be better. But the other one is bring real men back into society.
And we are back. And when I say we, I'm talking about
This isn't the
T
camera.
and Fee. Surprise! So after last week's episode, Nestor and Paulina decided they didn't want to show up.
We got into a fight.
I'm just kidding. So anyway, Paulina she has a little baby, and when
a mother.
she's a mother, she's a mommy. So like when baby needs mama, that's it. Everything else goes down the drain as it should. So anyway, it is Fiamma and I today. I'm so excited. How are you, Fee?
I'm good. I'm so tired.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
could get into that right now.
Yeah, we'll get into it. But I'm good. I'm happy to be here. I'm
Yes,
happy to be back.
I'm happy to have you back. Yes.
Whether you like it or not.
Requested, highly requested to come back. Marco's here. Shout out to
Hi.
Marco. His
up,
7
guys?
fans.
I think it's 8 now, but yeah.
8.
Oh, we're at 8. Yeah, you definitely gained one last week because you were quiet.
Yeah, I never fight with anyone, so.
That's good. Love that for you.
Drama.
No, never. So we're going to get into our affirmations. And then I have a question I'm going to ask the group, and then I'll answer it myself. And then we're going to get into some talks on great things, the great things
The
of
group
life.
us.
What?
The group us. Just us.
Well,
We are the
we
group?
are a group.
Okay.
You, Marco, and I. We're a group. Do we want to be
Just
called
sounded
something
like-
else?
it just
Do we
sounded
want to?
like so
What's a
many
group of
people.
3? What's it? What are like famous groups of 3? Like
Trio.
Destiny's
like-
Child.
No, but I'm thinking where there's one male and 2
The
females.
Kardashians.
Are you Rob?
God, no.
I'm
I did
Kim.
not want to be near Black China.
But he's
So
he's
no.
not Bruce either, because
Well, Caitlyn,
First of all, what's her face? What's her face now?
you can be Travis Barker. No,
Does that mean who's Kourtney Kardashian? In this
Lucy.
case? But she's not here.
in my heart.
So what are
she
you,
is.
Chloe?
No, I'm Kim.
Oh, perdón.
I'm Kim.
what about the Shahs of Sunset?
Oh, I love her. I love the Shah's Sunset. Anyway, we could keep going. Anyway, the 3 of us are here and we are ready to entertain you all. Okay, let's start with affirmations. Who wants to go first? Do you want to go first? Our lovely guest.
I'll go first.
Okay.
My affirmation for today is stick to it.
Okay. Stick to it. Do you want to elaborate or no? You feel?
Sure. If
I mean, I want you to elaborate on
I
this
like
one.
to make it short and concise. Just consistency is key sometimes.
Yeah.
So if you want something or you have a goal, especially goal-wise, stick to it. The process, I feel like you learn everything in the process, so you can't skip the process to get to the goal. You have to go through it, whether it's enjoyable or not. That's really where you learn most things, and you find kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel. So stick to it.
I like that.
Yeah.
So I was stuck between 2 affirmations. Well, I already know the one that is like definitely the one I want to say, but there's another one I thought about earlier, and I'm just going to say it because I like it, but that is not my affirmation for
You're
today.
doubling up.
I'm doubling up.
Double affirmation.
No, it says it's actually easier for people to stay in the darkness than see the light.
Absolutely.
And
Wow.
a lot of people,
Wow.
right?
That's deep.
I'm going to say it again.
That's deep.
It's easier for people to stay in the darkness than see the light. Anyway, so that reminded me of that. But anyway, can I make the assumption? Are you talking about anything related to like fitness?
Yeah.
Okay. How's
Yeah.
that going?
But it actually applies to so many other things happening in my life right now, but mostly fitness, because I've been getting a lot of, compliments, but also just like words of encouragement. I was having a conversation earlier, and I said something about, if you can't commit to yourself, who can you really commit to? And through that, it came about, and I was like, man, like a lot has happened in the past year, but like I've been sticking to it, so I gotta continue. It's a long journey.
I love that for you. Yeah, good. Marco, producer Marco, what's your affirmation?
Again.
Is that the affirmation?
That's my
Just the-
affirmation, just a sigh for dealing with you guys. My affirmation would be interested people watch obsessed people change the world. So people who are interested in something typically watch people who are obsessed in that same thing change the world. So that means, instead of, just thinking about doing something, instead of staying on the sidelines, do it. You have to be obsessed with it. If you want to be successful in anything, you kind of have to have an obsession. And that would be my affirmation right now, dealing with you guys and everything else I have going on.
Why does it have to be you guys?
Because we're a group, apparently. Remember?
We're a trio.
We're a trio. You're Destiny's Child. You are
Beyonce.
Beyonce. I'm Kelly Rowland, and this is Michelle Williams.
You're Michelle?
Damn, I wanted.
Damn.
I'm happy I knew all
Hey,
those
listen.
people.
Michelle is a respectable woman. She's just a little clumsy sometimes. That's all.
Yeah,
It's okay. We love her.
it's okay.
Yeah. So my affirmation is actually something one of my good friends told me. And she said, "You are vinegar, you make bombs. Other people are vinaigrette, they make salads." And I was like, oh. As weird as that is, like your face
Yeah,
is showing,
you're exploding.
I explode. And it's kind of like what you have in you, like the ingredients you have, like can really like fuck some shit up and like be bigger. And it's like acknowledging your power. That's how I took it. I took it as acknowledging your power, the power you have. What do you do with that power? I don't want to make a bomb, but I think I'm powerful. And it's what you do with that power.
A little bit too much of something can completely change the ingredients, the formula.
A little bit. I love some vinaigrette on my salad.
Yeah.
But then if you put a little too much vinaigrette,
Yeah.
it's not really a salad, is it?
I'm a ranch person, but yeah.
Well, that's so basic.
Oh, I like it. I like it all.
Yeah.
Oh, I like to switch it
Why are we talking
up.
about
I don't.
as we started
I
talking?
feel like it's just you and me. So like part of me is like, don't
Yeah.
be loud. But
Yeah.
yeah, then I didn't
Please don't
realize
be
I was
loud.
like,
Don't be louder than me.
it was kind of like an ASMR moment.
Yeah, it was, right? Okay. So earlier I asked how you were doing. Do you want to elaborate on that? How are you? Let the viewers know.
I'm doing good. I'm tired. I went to do the stairs. I forgot what they're called.
I saw
The-
Swallow Cliff.
Yeah, Swallow Cliff. It was my
God
first
bless you.
time. And it was my second cardio of the day, so it killed me. But it was good. It was I need to get out more because I used to be outside a lot, and then sometimes like with work and stuff, you kind of get caught up being inside, and then you forget how nice it feels to just have a moment outside. So I'm gonna make it more of a intentional, I guess, thing to
Yeah.
get outside more in the summer.
Yeah, I've done it once and I wanted to cry.
Honestly, it wasn't that fun.
No, it's not fun.
But
like,
I would say because I wasn't by myself, it was like,
that makes sense.
yeah, it was good to get it going. So we're gonna work our way up to 10. We did 6.
I did one and I died and I sat down after.
We did 1. We walked the trail.
Okay.
We came back and then we're like, oh, we're gonna do more, and then we did like the 6. So I also feel like had it not been my second cardio of the day, I would have definitely went for the 10.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person at amusement parks. I'm like, do we have to go like on all the rides, on all the things? Like we have to go all the way on that side, even though we're all the way on this side. I'm that person. Yeah. So I'm a little sad. I know you didn't ask how I'm doing, but I'm gonna tell you. Not another
So
laughing
disrespectful.
attack. I know.
Of me.
Guys, J-Lo,
You're sad.
she canceled her tour.
And her marriage.
I'm more sad about the tour because in my head I was like, I'm somehow gonna meet her. Like I
Yeah.
felt it in my heart. I was gonna meet her.
You're going to rush the stage?
No, I thought I was gonna meet her legit, like
okay.
after the concert.
Backstage.
Remember,
Yeah,
Paulina
that-
and I were talking about it.
That's a bummer.
It's a bummer, and it sucks because I already know. Here she goes. Her name's going through the mud again. Can't keep a man. Oh, my girl.
True story.
But I don't want to talk about that. I actually want to get into my question.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay, the question is, what is the most irritating question people ask you? Like when you get this question, it literally does something to your soul, physically does something to your body. Do you sweat? Do you get enraged? Do you get disappointed? Like, what do you get? So I want you to think about the question. Say what the question is. Tell me why does it irritate you? What about it irritates you? And then I want you to tell me how you answer it. What's the answer?
It's not a question for me. It's more of a statement.
Okay,
Yeah. And it grinds my gears.
let's hear it.
People tend to tell me all the time in different forms, but it's usually the same concept. Like how they thought I was a lot more of something. So usually I associate it with negative things, but they're like, "Oh, I thought you were a lot more crazier or like a lot more like of this or that." Usually goes along with wild or crazy or
Feisty?
no, I am feisty, but the level of feistiness depends on the person.
Okay.
But yeah, it's usually like how not chill they thought I was, or like how they usually get surprised with like how calm I am, or you know, stuff like that. And I'm like, how? Like what made you look at me
Yeah.
and say like she looks wild?
Yeah.
She looks crazy.
Let's practice.
What about me?
Let's answer. I'm
What
gonna
about
answer.
me?
I'm gonna tell you what about you.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna go with the assumption, right? Because I feel
well,
like
you also know this because I've told you.
I also know, and
Cheating.
some of it I could relate to. Some of it. So let's go physical,
Okay.
right? You're a very tall woman, above average. So I think naturally,
Should be scared, not call
right?
me crazy.
But I think people assume. But I think people assume like intimidating and crazy and scary kind of all are in the same connotative state.
I get told I'm very intimidating all the time, but
Yeah.
that doesn't grind my gears. I kind of like it.
No,
I've
I
grown
agree with
to,
that. But I'm just trying to think outsiders looking in. Like I'm pretending I don't know you and I'm looking at you.
Okay.
I think it's just like I think it's a Latina thing first, and I think
Yeah, for sure. It's a Latina, stereotype.
thing. It's the curly hair. For some reason, if you have straight hair, you don't seem crazy.
Somebody did tell me, somebody was like,
Curls
I thought
crazy.
you were a lot more wild or something. And I said,
'Cause
why
of your
did you think I was wild? I don't know, your curly hair. So stupid.
That's so crazy. Like Shakira doesn't seem that wild.
No,
hair
you
is
can be
crazy.
wild with straight hair.
Okay, right. That and I think your eyes. One thing about your eyes,
crazy
not
eyes.
just not just like the size of your eyes, but I feel like you're a person. I feel like you're a person that you maintain eye contact, and that intimidates people. And people probably think you're crazy because you're looking them
They
dead
think
at.
I'm psychotic because I'm like,
You're
what
looking
you-
at them in
what?
the face,
Yeah.
and you're like,
Say it
I'm
again.
listening to you. I'm here with it.
You meant that? Yeah.
I meant it. You meant it.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
So I think that those are like physical things about you. I think that people assume. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I'm saying
Yeah.
I could see that.
Maybe like, but then I feel like it's also well, it's not just a Latino thing because like Italians and stuff, they like a lot of European people talk with their hands.
That's
But,
true. Tone of
Mannerisms, maybe. My laugh. That one gets a pass.
I would. Let's just say if I had to pick a certain amount of people to go on a TV show to all laugh at the same time, you're in my top 3.
Like that one French show with
Yes, that show.
they're all laughing.
It's so great
my
because it's the
God.
people with the weirdest, craziest laughs.
Yeah.
I would put you on there.
Okay.
I think you'd do me justice.
Yeah, I have different kind of laughs too.
Yeah, like right
Yeah,
now you
for
had
sure.
the silent breath
Yeah,
laugh.
like-
But then you have your
yeah, when I laugh out loud.
that one's actually my favorite. Yeah, but anyway, okay, so that is the statement. that irritates you and grinds your gears, and you kind of said why. So what would you respond to that when people make those statements? What do you say?
I don't, because it's so annoying. Like, and what am I going to say, really, right? So then I feel too, like, sometimes I just don't want to bother, and I don't want to feel like I'm defending myself, or like, oh, now I have to make you believe that I'm not crazy. That also irritates me even more, having to go out of my way to like feel like I have to prove something or whatever. So I just try to ignore it and like just roll my eyes and like be annoyed and then let it go. But yeah, like it really just so annoying. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just irritating. What's
I could see
yours?
that. So mine, I feel like I have a few, but I think the one that irritates me is actually a question people wouldn't think that irritates me, but it's the "why are you single?" question.
So another annoying one.
And I think the reason why it irritates me is people have preconceived notions of why they think I'm single. Like they already have the answer.
Yeah.
So
Does it usually go like, you're too pretty to be single?
no, not
Just
even
the,
that.
are you single,
I
period?
think it's the question, why are you single? And people, it's assuming because I either think I'm too good for people, or they're like, all you care about is like work and this and that. So how you ever gonna find a man? Like that's the energy people give me when they ask me that question. So it irritates me because it's like when you see a person, and I don't even want to say a woman, when you see a person focusing on bettering themselves in different aspects of your life, you automatically assume they think they're better than people. And I don't like that because I don't think I'm better than people. I just want better for myself. So if I want better for myself in all these aspects, why am I just going to settle for anybody or anything? Do I think I am capable of being in a relationship? 1,000%. I am.
Absolutely.
And I think there have been people that like would make one want to be in a relationship. But I think you have to look at big picture and not think just with your emotions and your feelings and butterflies. You have to think, well, what do you want for your life?
Yeah.
Although I work very hard now professionally, I want to be a wife. I want to be a mother. I want to have my own family. And I've said that multiple times because that's kind of part of my fear because I'm an only child. Like I want to have my own family. However, I want to find somebody that I could share that with, that I know like in my heart that this is it, because I don't want to get a divorce. Like I want somebody for the long haul, like forever. And so I think that takes a lot of sacrificing your heart and feelings of what you like think is good at the time. But it's like you have to think big picture. And so for me, it's just like I'm going to spend time working on being a better version of myself and improving the areas that I'm weaker in. And then when I meet somebody or when somebody is in front of me that I feel like they're also doing the same and they want similar lifestyles and they want to be a father and they want to be a husband and we have shared values on how we want a family to be raised, then that's who I will be in a relationship with. And it's like I can't even answer it when certain people ask because immediately it's this like, I don't know how you expect by the time that happens, like look how old you're going to be. And it's like this age that all of a sudden you're limited.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating to me.
Yeah.
Totally off topic, but not really. I forgot her name, but she was the black girl on Boy Meets World. I think it was Boy Meets World. She is pregnant at 54 years old.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I've known people that have been pregnant at 40 or whatever. I mean, kudos to them. That couldn't be me.
Freeze
but
your eggs.
if you have,
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, I think if you have the money, the resources,
How much does this
and that,
cost? I don't know how much
I
that
mean, I
costs.
don't know. My
It's
like I
a
said,
pretty penny to
my
freeze
grandma
them, and
has-
but then you have to pay to keep them.
yeah, my
frozen.
grandma has absolutely told me she would help me, like
Yeah.
if that was something I wanted to do. But it's not even that. It's just more like the hormonal imbalance and what it does to your body. And I
Yeah.
don't know if like I would want to go through that. But you know, you never know what the future holds. So that question irritates me. And that's why it irritates me. And the answer I just gave you is essentially what I would give people.
But sometimes you just
But
don't bother.
sometimes I'm like, just because I am. Because
Yeah.
it's not my time. Because, you know, like some
Yeah.
people, you don't need to give them a full response.
It's like also the thing where you don't want to over explain yourself to certain people.
no, and
why?
it's like you already have this preconceived
Preconceived
notion of
notion.
me. You're gonna
I
believe
agree.
this about me anyway.
Yeah.
And maybe the way I answer it, you may say, "Oh, that's why."
Yeah, correct.
Which is fine. But like more women in life now are getting married later, having children later, and I think to each its own. Like
Yeah.
I know people who got married young and they're thriving and they're amazing mothers
and
and
some are divorced.
they have great families. I know some who got married early and they're already divorced. I know some who just are like they have children but they're no longer with the father.
Yeah.
And then I have some friends and people who have multiple children with different dads but did get their happy ending and have a good husband
And then some that are not married and are happily together, living their best,
yes,
committed life.
they are stronger than a lot of other marriages, right?
Yeah.
And then there's women who just love themselves and love the people around them and have an abundance of love and they're just waiting till they find that person to share it with.
Yeah. I also think like relationships are so complex. I just don't understand why, like, the more knowledge that you have and the more awareness that you have, why you would want to rush into a long commitment with someone without looking at all the factors that include being in a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also like to even go with that, it's like, you know how they say, don't look for your perfect person, like become the perfect person. That also is like very true. So you can't
can
really
see that.
ask for all these things and you're not all the things that you're asking for.
Yeah, and I think so. That reminds me of two things. One, it's just this idea of like I don't want to find my better half. I come as a whole. I want somebody as a whole. I'm not trying to complete anybody.
Yeah,
right.
just
I don't
compliment me.
compete. I complete. But not even that. Like I don't want to complete you. I want to be an addition, but like the best addition you could ever have. Like hello, name brand. You know. But then two is I saw this video, and it was from a male's perspective, saying like there's a lot of women saying like, oh, there's no good men out in the world. And it's actually that it's not that there's no good men. The good men just don't want you. Like, how are you portraying yourself? Right. And then there was a quote and I was like, oh, that's a little harsh, but it kind of makes sense. It's like the problem is with good women, they're standing too close to the bad women and you don't know how to differentiate the two. And the word wasn't bad women, it was the hoes.
Yeah.
They said like good women are standing too close to the hoes, so it's hard to differentiate the two. And I was like,
I mean, let me tell you something. I know some good men that one are tired, two have
I thought she was like, I know some good hoes.
no, I know some good men that one are tired, two are don't have the best judgment, which that's on them, and three do kind of I would say are easily influenced. And the reason why I say that is because I know good men that are strong and stuff, but like when I get to know them on a like deeper level, because they're my friends, some of them, then my question to them always is like, but why, like, did this happen to you? Like, sometimes I think we have a bad habit of treating people and generalizing them. And it's like, no, every person that comes into your life is different. And granted, they may have the same behaviors as other people, but people will show you who they are. You just have to let them and like be patient. And that's where like taking your time and being patient comes into play, because people would literally show you if you just let it be.
Absolutely.
And so that's kind of and it goes for men and women. It's like you can find good people out there if you just get to know them. But also it's like if you find the bad ones, why do you keep picking the bad ones?
yeah,
You
doing
know?
like a self-analysis of
Yeah.
yourself.
And it's like, just because like we may share the same, a
Interests
lot of the same
or-
characteristic or interest doesn't make me just like the person that you dealt with. And like, you can't, I feel like you're setting yourself up if you put that into every new person that you meet, because you're the one that's setting yourself, like, that's just, it's bad for you.
Yeah. And I think on top of that, it's when you try to change them. Like,
I'm so against
I could
that.
try to change them. Like, you're only doing
you
a disservice to yourself. And then number two, and I think we recently had this conversation in our friend group about allowing people time to show themselves, kind of like the benefit of the doubt. Like, let time go by. Let them show you, not what they say, but what they do, their actions. But then after time, if their actions don't match their words, it's your responsibility to close that door and put your big person pants on and make the hard decision to step away, because you're only hurting yourself.
That's why, like, you have to know what you want. I think, like, oh my God, dating is just such a big concept, right? But just to make it short, if you want to be, in my opinion, if you want to be intentional, you have to know exactly what you're looking for. You have to know yourself very well. And then you have to move. Every move that you make has to be a conscious decision that you're making. So that's the part about being intentional. If you just want to date around just because you want to see what's out there, I think that there's like different parameters there. But if you want to be intentional because your goal is to get married and to find a husband, and a long time partner, then you have to move differently. I mean, to me, there's just like no buts and ifs about it. Like, you have to be different, and it's hard. It's not easy, because a lot of the times it's going to require you to make hard decisions. I just believe that people don't want to make hard decisions. People don't like the suck.
Yeah.
And what the suck is the ugly part. It's the part that is not entertaining. It's the part that it's not exciting. It's the part where you have to make the right decisions for you, even though it means like it might hurt you. You may not get what you want out of it.
You might be vulnerable.
Correct. You may have to step up. You may have to share some things. You may have to stop being prideful, go out, like, be a little bit more selfless in certain things. Be the right word for that would be this word always slips my mind and then comes back. Consideration. You have to be considerate. And so it's hard and it's complicated, but you have to do it. And once you know that, if where you are at or the person that you're with, if they're not going to give you what you ultimately want, because it's not about what they want.
No.
And I think that's where, like, most women kind of go wrong. They're like, they ask the guy, so, like, do you want to date exclusively? Or, like, are we seeing other people? And then he'll be like, well, yeah. Like, because we're not, for example, he'll be like, yeah, we're not there yet. So, like, yeah, for sure. And then maybe that's not what you wanted. And the reason why you asked him is because you didn't want to date other people. You just wanted to date him. At that point, you're faced with a decision.
Yo. And that's hard.
And you better...
That's hard.
You
Stick
better
to your guns.
stick to what you said you were going to do.
And that's hard.
And then if you don't, then later on, you can't really, cry about it.
Nope.
Because you had the facts when you made that decision.
Sit in your piss. What is it?
Sit in the bed that you make.
Sit in the bed. Oh, but I thought it was like sit in your piss or something like that. Okay.
Don't sit in
whatever.
your piss. You get a UTI.
No, I agree with you, Fiamma. And I think that's very hard. Like, really, really, really getting down to what your
Super
non-negotiables are.
So difficult.
And I feel like your non-negotiables stem from your family life and the way you grew up, in my opinion. What you saw versus, like, I like this, I want this, or I experience this, I don't want to experience this. I don't want to take this with me in my family. I like this. I want this to flourish in my family. I think it's also like it's like your own like self-talk, self-therapy, right? Like, what are the things I want to carry with me, and what do I want to pass down to my future children, if that's something you want, like children and a family? Because I think I said this a long time ago in an episode, like, when I look at people dating who I would consider being in a relationship with, are you going to be a good father? Are you going to be a good husband? Because if you're not,
do you want to be married, or do you want to be a husband?
And with
Do you
the,
want kids, or do you
Yeah.
actually want to be a
with the
dad?
non-negotiables, I think is this concept of like, what is the life you want to live, and who is going to live it with you without judging you, without second guessing you? More so like, I'm in it with you. We're doing it together. Not like, oh, you want that? Well, then fine. If you don't want that, I respect that. But then again, you're faced with the decision. What is it that meaningful to you that you can't imagine your life without it?
Yeah.
Or is it something like you could make work?
Yeah. My non-negotiables are definitely from experience.
What are they?
It's too many, but no. I think they're from experience. I think as I mature, I start realizing that I also don't want to live. I don't want to continue living in other people's experience, because since I was really young, I've seen a lot, I've experienced a lot, and I think sometimes it tarnishes you, and it does tarnish your perspective on love, marriage, especially relationships, commitment, men. Speaking as a woman, and so what I've realized as I've gotten older is that a lot of those experiences are not mine. They're experiences that my mother or somebody in my family or another womanly figure, that they went through that. And granted, I think it's very smart to learn from them. But I think, and I see this often in almost every woman that I know that it's even close to me, they'll take those experiences. Oh yeah, this happened to my grandma, this happened to my aunt, whatever. And then they'll carry them with them. And I'm just trying to let go of their damage, because I feel like I have my own damage. And so, but then I don't want to continue to tarnish my view on certain things. Like, growing up, for the longest time, I didn't want to get married. And then when I finally realized why I didn't want to get married, it wasn't something that really had something to do with me. It had to do with like everything else around me. So me specifically, I think it's good to learn from others, but I also think like you have to kind of make it work for you. And same thing with men. I feel like you might have seen a lot of people around you have bad experiences with women, but it doesn't mean that your experience has to be bad with women, or doesn't mean that your experience will be bad. And I don't think we have enough of that. I think the easy thing now is to say, it's just to think negatively. And granted, a lot of people prove you right, which sucks. Yeah. Yeah, that's another hard, difficult thing to do. Keep a positive outlook in very they're not negative situations, but they don't seem very hopeful, especially the way it's going now, right? So I think it also is very difficult, but that's just my own personal take on that. I don't want to keep carrying other people's pains and bad. Just I don't want that with me. I have enough of my own that I need to, you know, that I think I've let go and I forgave and stuff. But yeah, I don't. Hopefully, when I find a husband or he finds me. He'll think the same. But yeah, my non-negotiables they stem from what I've experienced, where like I absolutely will not tolerate, and then also just knowing how I am. There are just certain things when I look at certain behaviors, I'm like, can I live with this? Yeah. Like, can I make this work? Like, would this like really just, how bad would this be? You know, like, is this really going to kill me in the end? Like, when I say kill me, I mean like, is it going to just drive me absolutely insane to the point where like it'll make me not be attracted to you or something? And then a lot of the times, once you go down that path, you realize like some things are really not a big deal. You're just making them a big deal.
That's true. Yeah. And I think a big part of that is just being reflective and looking at yourself in the mirror and being in this point, in this society, in this culture of you ain't shit, you ain't shit. Well, in what ways am I not shit? And I know it's a hard conversation to have, but you have to be self-aware. Like, clearly, you got some red flags. You got some toxic behaviors. You have something. Can you identify it? Can you name it? If you can name it, then growth could happen if you're willing to put in the work.
I agree.
But if a person like is too busy like putting down other people, then that says a lot.
Yeah.
Right there. Like, what are you doing?
I also think if you
yourself?
can identify it yourself, how can you ever take accountability for it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm really big, I'm really big on accountability.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know we went on a little tangent here, Marco, but I am curious to know
What's up?
what question irritates you
I
when
even
people
forgot
ask you. I know. That's why I'm saying I know we went on a tangent.
That was like a 45-minute tangent.
I'm so sorry.
I was like,
But,
what the hell?
But we do want to hear your voice. Your voice matters.
Thank you. As the only man in the room.
Yeah, the married man too.
After being all the guys are being dragged through the dirt by.
I don't think we're dragging men.
Just kidding.
I'm like, that's the problem with some people though.
What?
It's selective hearing. You took one little piece of what we said and you're assuming men think we're dragging them. We're
Bring
not.
real men back. You know what? Not to cut you off, but
Go ahead.
I'm gonna
when
let
she
you
was
finish,
speaking-
but
Feel free.
I will let you
Just
finish. But she
speak
was
into the
speaking.
mic.
I thought this idea came to my head, and I need to make a little flag or something where it's like controversial opinion, and I'm just gonna wait
red
it.
flag.
Bing, bing, bing. Here's our
Because-
segment of controversial
Yeah,
opinions.
because and that was my one take. Well, one, it was when you said when you're trying to be better, because I'm like, you should be trying to be better. It's not like you're trying to be better than other people, but you should absolutely try to be better. But the other
Yeah.
one is bring real men back into society, please. Okay.
But what's real men?
The ones that protect, provide.
So, like, for example, a few weeks ago, there was that Kansas City Chiefs kicker that gave that graduation speech, right? I'm sure everyone saw
Yeah,
it.
I don't think he was wrong.
You don't think it was wrong?
No.
Okay. So,
Absolutely.
Can you refresh my memory
I
on what he
have
said?
very,
so essentially, what he was saying is he went. Sorry to cut you off, Yama. He went to a graduation ceremony for college graduates, and he said that, "Hey, women, awesome that you guys are graduating, but you will find more purpose starting a family and getting married than your college degree can give you." The assumption
what
of
you're saying.
everything. So, like, going back to
I'm not mad at what he said.
really,
I think no, because I
would say as someone who's going to be a doctor.
but understand this, and I've acknowledged this, right? Like, and I'm sorry, I know you're going to talk too. I think right now, my greater purpose is pursuing my doctorate
okay.
and doing what I can to help the community around me
Yeah.
thrive through that work. I think right now that is my biggest purpose, 100%. But I 1000% believe the day I become a mother,
Yeah.
that purpose is beyond a degree.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at. So it's not like I'm saying he's wrong, but I'm not saying he's 100% right. I think it's different for women and what you want for yourself.
Okay.
But I do agree that being a mother will hold a higher purpose, in my opinion, when the time is right, for me, whenever that comes.
Okay.
Okay, go
What about you,
Fiona.
Fiona? Because you
What-
came out saying he wasn't wrong.
I don't think he was wrong. One, because like that's his opinion, and like we all have opinions.
Yeah.
And so he has like the beautiful thing about America is there's freedom of speech. So I didn't like that people were like trying to cancel him because he had an opinion. I think more people should have an opinion, and having an opinion doesn't mean we all have the same opinion. Having an opinion should be different. It should sometimes is going to be controversial. Sometimes is going to, create friction, whatever. That's just what that is. But also I think context, I'm like big on context, and I think context matters. And so I didn't necessarily like watch the speech when he did it. I just saw, obviously, social media was going crazy.
Yeah, the
and
highlights.
then I was like, and I still didn't, like, at that point, didn't really, like, make me feel any type of way. But then I read the statement where he clarified what he meant. And in that moment, I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, what is there to be opposed? Like, why is this something that, like, bothers people so much?
I think
so-
it bothers people because it was at a moment where women were celebrating that achievement. And so it was a celebratory moment, not a moment to be said, what you're celebrating doesn't really
So
matter.
that I understand. Like
So I
I
think-
could understand why it's kind of like
Yeah. So
in that sense.
Because like the idea that you're saying is true, right? Like if some people find more purpose in being a mother than they do in their careers, which is A-okay. But I think at that moment where you're celebrating all those years of hard work, to have someone come up there and tell you, hey, you shouldn't have done all those years of hard work because you're going to find more
Yeah, I
purpose
agree
in
with
this,
that. Like
kind of would rub people the wrong way.
yeah.
Yeah, timing. I think like there's a time and a place. So it probably his delivery in the setting that he was in probably wasn't the appropriate one at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Which it does make sense. But yeah, I think ultimately like God, there's just so much to unpack there. But yeah, ultimately, I mean that's how he feels, and
But you said bring real men back, so you didn't finish. So what are real men?
For me, real men are the ones that protect, provide, and basically, like, I just think men are the muscle of society. Like, I think sometimes like women can be the brain, even though most inventions have been done by men, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think we need a little bit more masculinity back. And I think most people, when they think of masculinity, they make it a negative thing.
Toxic makes
But
sense.
and I don't think there's such thing. I don't believe in toxic masculinity anymore or toxic femininity. I just think there's just toxic people. And I think you have like character flaws. And so it's kind of like when you go to an establishment and you get a person, like you go to a restaurant, you get a bad waiter.
Yeah.
Same thing with you're going to get a bad doctor. You're going to get a bad teacher. You're going to get a bad of something. So there's always going to be something like that. But I think masculinity in the sense of like men being able to provide for their families, to protect, to be there, to raise the children, to be like an example. I think like being a man is just very difficult, to be honest. And I don't think that we see that very often. I think like they've been villainized so much that it's hard to think of like what a man actually is now. I mean, some people really can't even tell you what a man and a woman is nowadays. So there goes that.
Yeah. And
So, but that's just like my opinion, because I find masculinity to be an important and essential part of not just like your family, your nuclear family structure, because usually like men tend to be the disciplinarians or for example, I think the way boys are raised, I think there's certain things that boys are not going to do to their fathers that they will try with their mothers, because their dad is usually going to be the one to like put them in their place. And moms can be like a little bit softer, and not all of them, of course, but most, at least like most, in my case, most people that I've known that have grown up with their mom and their dad, that are boys, there is a difference 100% in how they behave, in the level of respect that they have. And obviously there's some like amazing men that have been raised by single mothers because their mom have done a incredible job, so we're not taking away from that. But then there's also like, obviously we know people that have they're not in that category. But that's my take on masculinity. So
is it fair to say that like bringing back the gender norms that we've kind of disassembled as society? Because a lot of what you're saying are gender norms. That's what people would say.
Some of them are, but I don't think.
No.
I think I don't. First of all, I don't think that would ever happen, because I don't see the new generation going back to what the gender norms used to be.
Okay.
So a hybrid of that option, I think, would work perfectly. Like, for example, I think that like back in the day, most females in a family wouldn't want the man to do anything around the house because that wasn't manly enough. No. When in reality, it's like, as a person that needs to survive, knowing how to wash your dishes, your laundry, how to cook, how to clean, it shouldn't be like a think of a man or a woman. It's just like
Life skills.
life skills.
Well, let me butt in there because you want to bring real men back and you want to bring providers, right? To be a provider nowadays is very difficult. And to be a provider nowadays is getting more and more expensive. And we have only two currencies in this world, money and time. So if you want more money to provide, I need to give you less time.
Correct.
And if I give you less time, that means I have less time to do those things.
Correct. So when I backtrack, so I think, for example, if we're talking about like men in marriages, I will say like depending on what that relationship looks like, that's going to change. But it might, like when I'm speaking right now, in my head, what I'm thinking about is the formation of a man, right? So that's the part where I don't think it's gonna go back to how it used to be, because I think it should be kind of like hybrid, where in the formation of people, not just males, but really should be male and female, you should have some essential life skills where it is not characterized by gender like it used to be before. So that's a better way to explain it. AKA, if you have a young man, I feel like you don't raise him to like know how to wash a dish or his laundry. When he grows up and like eventually moves out of your house, of his parents' house, what is he really gonna do with his life? Like, is he gonna live in a mess, like in a dirty mess where he doesn't know how to be organized? And so for me, like when I look at those things as a woman, for example, if I was taught to be organized and to be clean and to pick up after myself, and I know how to do all these things, I also would want a man that hopefully can learn to pick up after himself, can do his laundry, can like at least attempt to like clean and do these things. If you're married and you are the man of the house and you're working your butt off to provide for your family, and let's say like you give your wife the option because you have it where you're like, you don't have to do this, I think the interaction absolutely changes, because his day is not gonna look like yours. And being a housewife or a woman of the house, anybody that knows how to take care of a house knows like there's no breaks. It's hard work. You're always doing something. So it's not to say like, oh yeah, your job is easier. Absolutely not. But he is going to do less because he's doing more.
I want to piggyback off of that, Fiamma, just because I see this in my own life, in my own household. So like my mom stopped working in 2012, I believe, or around that time. And so a lot of people tell my mom like, oh my God, like, what do you do with all your time? Like, and my mom's like, what do you mean? They're like, you don't just sit, Dixie? Like, you don't just sit? And my mom's like,
where?
There's so much to do. Like, my
Always.
mom says that all the time. There's so much to do. Like, I am always, like, maintaining my house, beautifying my house, making sure everything's in place, that it's whoever comes in at any time, like, it's a representation of who you are, who your family is, and my mom's very prideful about that.
Yeah.
And she is always, like, if, like, you said it great, like, if you know how to, what did you say exactly? Like, if you know how to maintain a house, or you know how to do it correctly or something like that?
Yeah, like I said
Like, you
something
know,
along those
it's
lines.
not just like, it's constant, right?
Yeah.
You said something like that. And I believe that because of, I see my mom.
Yeah.
So she's literally that. And then my dad is the one who works crazy hours. And he's always been, since I was a baby, like, in the beginning, like, he was working 2 jobs, sometimes 3 jobs, just to maintain and give my mom like a comfortable life, even though my mom still worked. My mom was always a worker. My mom did not become a quote unquote housewife until I was in college. She always worked because she wanted to make sure they were financially stable for me. Like, that was always her vision. Like, she wants to make sure my family is good. God forbid something happens. So my dad, again, he works, and my mom worked because they both had the shared vision of, if something happens tomorrow and the world shuts down, COVID, hello.
Yeah.
We have enough saved. We're smart with our money that we don't have to stress. We are secure. That's something that's a non-negotiable. That's something I want to take with me.
Yeah,
I'll be damned. My
absolutely.
parents work this hard to provide a life like this for me.
Yeah.
And then I let all that go out the window for
Yeah,
somebody
like,
else? Never.
My mom always says like, don't go from wearing shoes to wearing chanclas.
Period.
Because it's true. Like, and I mean, it's just
yeah.
listen, whatever works for you, you make it work in your relationship or in your life, because there's really like no manuals to how you choose to make something work, how you choose to navigate your relationships, your life,
Yeah.
etc. But definitely, like, I was raised with that too, where my mom was like, if we're able, as your parents, we're able to give you a certain lifestyle, why would you go
Amen.
and settle for less?
Yeah.
You should want to settle with somebody that can match where you're at or what we've been able to give you or give you more. And she's
Yeah.
like, and really, you should want
My
somebody
dad
that can
says that
offer
all the
you
time.
more. Yeah. And a lot of the times too, like, having something to offer doesn't mean money.
Correct.
Because people,
Correct.
not just men, people can mistreat you and take advantage of you who make money. And then at the end of the day, it's like, what did money do for you? Absolutely nothing. Well, there are other obviously important factors to take into consideration. So, yeah,
You don't want to cry in a Benz instead of
Right?
instead of a Honda.
Cry in Jimmy Choo's?
well, it depends what I'm crying about. Like, if he beat me to death, I don't want that.
I don't know if
No.
you'd be crying.
Well, not to death, but you know, like, if I'm crying because but I'm alive and crying,
That's funny.
I had a moment.
Yeah.
But you know what I meant. Like, if he
Yeah.
like, for example, if there's any type of domestic violence or abuse involved, and just because he has money, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But if it's just like, I didn't get my way, yeah, I want to be crying a Ferrari.
Yeah, right. Like, why? What do you mean? we
Or a
couldn't
boat
come
in
here?
the Mediterranean or something,
Yeah,
you
right.
know. He
but
didn't make it to dinner.
I think before we actually let you finally get to
Before we
answering your
wrap up,
question, but like when we think about the life skills, and like I said, I think about my parents, it's the fact that yes, he's a provider and he spends a lot of time providing and working physically like hard, but it doesn't take a lot of time to, when dinner's over, say, I could help you wash the dishes, or let me pick up my plate.
Or if you take
Or-
off your socks watching TV, you pick them up when you
yeah,
you were
or
done.
I'll take out the garbage without
Yeah.
you telling me. Or
But it's part of like you figuring out what works for you.
You need to
and
communicate.
You make your, like, everybody makes their own arrangements and what they're
Whatever.
okay with. And
need to
so
communicate it.
yeah, it's like, you know, like Thor's wife, Chris Hemsworth's wife, how they've been, I guess, like they try to flip the narrative and they asked her like, and they made it seem like she gave up her career for him. And she was so graceful when she responded, and she was like, it's a personal choice. And it's a choice that I wanted to make. And yes, it was a sacrifice, but I wanted to make the sacrifice because I wanted to be there for my kids. And so she's like, so what's the problem?
yeah.
And then she basically shut it down right
Good
then
job.
and there. And that's just what it is. Okay.
So finally, after 3 times of attempting this,
Okay.
Marco, what is the question that you get asked that irritates you? And why does it irritate you? And what do you respond?
I'll make mine quick and lighthearted. I get asked, the question that irritates me is, can I borrow money? And usually it just annoys me because I'm not a bank. I don't have time to keep track of everything. So usually, like, if family members ask me, I won't ever write it down. I won't consider it as like borrowing. I just consider it as a gift. Like, I'm not going to get that money back. Here you go. Like, whatever it is. But if random people ask me, I'll be like, I only got it, bro. I'm broke. And they'll be like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm broke. Sorry, I don't have money. It's not, I'm brokey.
I have a question on my own.
Yes,
I know
ma'am.
I have a question too. This is the problem.
And
We're
this
so
is like
inquisitive.
off that topic, but it's very much on a topic that we discussed.
Yeah.
So when you were dating your now wife,
Are we gonna have the
how were
same
you
question?
intentional with her as a man?
Oh no, we don't.
What were some things that you were like, you intentionally, like, that you did intentionally when you were dating her to get to the next level? Like, for example, I don't know if you always knew you wanted to marry her, or the moment that you figure out, oh yeah, she's like wife material, this is what I'm gonna do. Like, were there any
So for me, it was very simple. Like, I knew I wanted her to be my wife and the mother of my children. And I think that's different for a lot of guys because, as you guys, this is going to be a long answer, but whatever. as you guys were talking earlier, right? There's people when you run different circles and everything else. We as humans have people for everything in our lives. The people who we go out with, the people that we hang out with, the people that we do, the party people, and everything else. Settling down and being married is the single biggest transformation of your life because you have to push all those people aside. So if you are with someone who is a party person and you are a party person or you are their party person, that does not necessarily mean that you are their wife or you're their husband. And that's hard to hear, and I know, but when you look for someone to be your significant other and the mother of your children, from my case, it's something I took seriously. I didn't look at her as who she was today, as a girl who likes to go out or anything else. No, I looked at the future of, could she be a good mother? And when I made that decision is when that's what the decision was made. Because I understood that in my life, the 6 years, 10 years, hopefully only, if you go more than that of partying, then you may have a problem. We're going to be very short, and everything else meant a lot more than these 6 or 10 years. So yeah, that was my intention ways. But I'm also very old school. Like I provide, I protect.
He's like, I'm a real man.
I wouldn't say like I'm a real man. I would say
I'm a boy.
I do know that a lot of the time, like I like you can ask Lucy up to this day, like she doesn't pay for anything. Like when we go out to dinner, there's no. Like,
I mean, you are a real man because you bleed, you live, you're made out of.
Like that thing, like even if I go out, like when we've gone out, when I went out with like Paulina, right? Like we go out to get lunch, like she's not paying.
Yeah.
Like it's not. And it's not because of anything else besides the fact that like that's how I was raised, that like men are supposed to take care of women.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of the thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
I have an old school mentality too. I think
Yeah, you want women back in the kitchen.
I wouldn't mind, to be honest, but I
This
find
is where we're a
nothing-
little different, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
find nothing
Here
wrong.
comes the
I
differences.
find nothing wrong with gender roles as long as it works for people. And I also believe like everything has its thing, you know, like if I always say like whatever you're looking for, you have to be prepared to give or sacrifice something what you're looking for. If I want a man that's like about his business, I better be prepared to deal with that and make it work. Like it's not gonna be all the time, all the attention. It's gonna be a lot of sacrifice from my end, but that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
So I need to buckle down and like be serious about it.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Like with Lucy, for example, like I give her a lot of credit because it's not easy being my partner, my wife, or my girlfriend, because I'm not there. Like I'm not there a lot of the times, and you know, that's part of success. That's part of sacrifices. You know, I'm not always going to be there, and if I'm there, some of the times, I'm not always going to be there mentally. What does that mean? That doesn't mean that I'm not enjoying our time. But as I'm enjoying our time together, I may be thinking about everything else that I have to
Answering
do. With everything.
emails or taking care of
Kudos to
something.
Lucy, because again, we talk about self-awareness. Like me personally, like although like I respect you so much, that would be difficult for me.
It's difficult for her.
Like
but
I think that would be something that I would constantly have to process and work with within myself if that is something I'm willing to deal with, because my love language is quality time.
yeah, and that's not like saying that there's no quality time.
Right. It's just
It's just that like there's a sacrifice to everything. As I
yeah,
said before,
I understand
there's
that.
two currencies, and so like
Yeah, I
you know,
respect it.
people only see the good thing in our lives. The new cars, houses, everything else. People only see the good things. They don't see the
The
sacrifice.
sacrifice.
Yeah,
is
it's like
behind
the
scenes.
iceberg
Yeah,
concept.
absolutely.
Correct. So that's why.
I think like it matters when you find purpose, and not just within yourself, but like I feel like for me that's like a big deal. Can I see the purpose in the man that I am dating? And I feel like that's when I'll know that I want to marry him. When his purpose, when I can say like I'm willing to give this up for you to fulfill your purpose. And maybe not give it up, but like maybe our purpose, ideally I would want our purpose to match, so it doesn't like make me later on resent that I
It's
gave.
all about communication and having
that
those
I gave
hard
up
talks,
anything in my
hard
life.
talks early on.
Early and often.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen,
Controversy over.
controversy over. Welcome to the Gender Norms episode. Anyway,
It wasn't even-
I know. But thank you, Fiamma, for being here. Always
for watching.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Marco, thank you for your input.
Yes, as
Shout
always.
out to Marco. I want to thank myself for engaging and facilitating this conversation. But thank you
did
all
very
for
well.
watching. You could follow me at Talk with Tati. Fiamma, where can they follow you?
You can follow me at Fiamma_FIAAAMA.
She got it this time.
Underscore.
Marco, you could just listen to his voice. That's all you get.
Yep.
That's all we give you.
Producer Marco.
And then you can follow the podcast at Never Too Shy Pod or email us at nevertooshypod@teampenna.co.
There we go. We got that.
Comment, like, and subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.